AJ. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Thank you. AJ. I'm just going to refer to you in sneeze form from now on.
What's up, man? You know what my favorite part about doing Gamescast?
The cueing the cat.
right before the show. I mean, there's several things, but for this particular day is the confidential stuff that we talk about beforehand that we can't say publicly.
And I always say it literally as we're going live, so I'm always like, this might make it into the show.
And then we have to cut it off. We're like, oh yeah, we got to start the show, and this is why we always start the show just laughing.
I'm always like, I haven't talked to you in a week. Here's some trade secrets. Oh, by the way, we're going live. Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Brian.
Yeah.
Here in this place lies the genie of death. Touch it, see it. Whoa. Here in this place is a means to your end. Touch it. Feel it, Brian. Green hell! 5 people will get that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, no, I didn't. And I just thought you were singing more lyrics to Superman like last week, which you get an odd amount of respect for.
I know. I think it was, I thought that was better than it got credit for by you. And by the chat that was with us at the time.
Listen, everything that all of my co-hosts do deserve more credit than I give you credit for. And with that, let's start the show.
Let's go.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 hours Friday, right here on YouTube with Parole, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. We do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern, for your viewing pleasure right here on YouTube. If you don't like us doing it live because we talk too much, it's okay. Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry puts timestamps into this after the fact. And if you got to drive or be somewhere else and you can't do this, well, guess what? You can listen to this in a much more convenient podcast form on YouTube. Podcast services of your choice. Thanks to our good friend Jamie Out. My name is Brian Popnician right here, PSVR Without Parole. And to my left, you are right, it's my good friend from PSVR without PSVR Underground. Underground. PSVR Underground. Boy, I'm way off today.
Wow.
Can we start this whole thing over again?
What is up, Brian? You should have drinking some of that chloroform before the show. There it is. Yeah. Maybe you need to cut back on it then.
Until they start sponsoring me, it's always just off camera. When they start sponsoring me, it'll be on the shelf right back here.
That's not the green health one. That's why it's not working as well this time. You need the green health. There it is. There it is. It's almost empty. You might want to conserve that for a boss fight.
It's been sitting out a little bit too long. I might give it to.
Still works.
I'll give it to the boss. How about that?
Yeah. What is up, man? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Monday. Good to see all of you. I am here tuning in from Underground Station B. That is right. I am visiting my mom. Once again, some of the true OG hardcore game cats would remember a couple years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, in fact, where I was up here doing the show. And man, it was a lot of fun. Fun fact, this bench behind me, this desk, I played StarCraft on in 1998 because parents are good at holding on to things.
And your parents have fond memories of you playing StarCraft there?
I don't know. I think it's just a great desk that held up and it is still viable.
Nice. Yeah. I can tell that you're not in your place because that does look like a very nice desk.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Oh man, dude, what's been happening on the underground lately? I feel like I haven't really had a chance to catch up with you since the last time we did the show. Have you had a chance to do any streams or any interactive chats? What's been going on?
I've been basically just holding it down with interactive chat. Had a great one last week. There was the tweet heard around the world last week, and rather than
is this Ryan McCaffrey's tweet? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, and like everybody chimed in on it, and I didn't want to what I basically said was like I didn't want to take the low hanging fruit. I didn't want to give him any low blows like he did, and I didn't want to stoop down to that level because obviously that tweet was very lazy and like it meant something, but it said something else to trigger another audience. Sure. Clearly, even if there was like some truth behind it and a good point behind it. It was still such a cop out of a thing to do. But so I just went into it a little bit more detail as to like what I believe, Sony could be doing better in terms of like, shutting down all these haters and stuff and critics like this, because while they express it in dumb ways, they do, there is some truth that they have that where Sony needs to get better. So it was really fun. I tried to turn it into a positive thing. Other than that, man, things are going to be really ramping back up. I think for my channel in September, once this month ends, things are going to get really rolling again. And but we might have a surprise stream tomorrow, Brian.
Whoa! I'm surprised already.
Yes.
That's it. No further information.
I'm planning to likely stream Green Hell tomorrow. So
nice.
Tune in tomorrow for some fun with that. Now that we know that it's releasing tomorrow, the day before it comes out. Speaking of Sony's marketing and messaging.
Yeah, we'll definitely get some more Green Hell talk in a little bit. But yeah, people asked, they're like, "Oh, you gonna stream it?" Because I haven't done a live stream in forever. I think the last actual game stream that I did, AJ, was another Fisherman's Tale, and then I just sort of became disenchanted with streaming games. Like so many people do that. I was like, well, I should just stick to the things I'm good at, which is normally, GamesCast is like I'm mildly okay at. But really, what I think Without Parole is known for is, the highly edited reviews and PSVR this week, news videos, that kind of stuff. I was like, so maybe I should just, stay behind the computer as much as possible and not really get out there in front of the camera. However, I'm excited for Green Hell, and that was a game that I was willing to make an exception for. I really wanted to stream my first impressions of it. Incuvo has been whatever PR firm they're using, if they've got a PR firm, it's just been extremely quiet. I feel everybody that's reached out to me has said that they haven't heard a peep from Incuvo. So I don't know if you're going to have any early impressions of this game. Makes me a little nervous, AJ. Just a little nervous.
A little nervous, yeah, a little nervous, but I'm excited to jump in. Live streaming is my bread and butter, even though I haven't been doing it a lot lately due to just being busy with other stuff. But I've got some free time now. I took some vacation time to visit some family, and yeah, I'm gonna also try to take advantage of that and work on some videos and some live streams. So, gonna try and make the most of this vacation, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, we'll get into it here in a little bit more, but I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. Long story short.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, man, for just starting your vacation, you look more well rested already. You can already say like there's like a weight off your shoulders for the time being.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, listen, I'm going to take care of 2 tips, and then we're going to get the show started in the way that we should. The Gamecat Mustang 750R with the $1 tip says nothing, but we appreciate your generosity. Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoony witch GameKit, with the $2 tip says, you have to be positive. I'm positive. I'm sure it's cartoony games suck, but it just took out a bunch of letters to make them fit into the tip. Positive as always, Emily. Can never disappointed with your statements. All right, man. Thank you to everybody who tips. We appreciate you keeping the lights on. But AJ, every Monday we do this thing where we thank a whole different group of people, don't we?
That's right, Brian. We would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something GameCat related, or something GameCat adjacent, as you and something GameCat adjacent like to say. And this week we have
I didn't count
5 new GameCats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo.
Wait. There it is. Okay, go ahead. I was late on the draw.
Starting with Macho _ the real estate procrastinating Gamecat.
Bing!
I love it.
Macho Vasquez finally did it, man. That's a fucking lengthy GameCat name change. It doesn't roll off the tongue like
Macho.
Vasquez does.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's got the macho. It's got the, you know, how I always like to say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also a reference to him being very excited about his number one most anticipated game, House Flipper VR, I think it's called.
Also,
I don't even know the name.
We can see this much of his face in the profile picture, and I'll tell you right now, AJ, from that third, maybe half, very handsome man.
Very handsome bottom left side of your face, sir.
Who's next, AJ?
We've also got the hippie Sinner Cat, Chapter 3, Pickle Regurgitation.
Bing!
Dude, they are on it today.
I guess
that is great.
I guess this is a response to us not quite getting the Song in the Smoke reference from the last name change. He gave us something that was a little more obvious. This is obviously Saints and Sinners
on the nose.
Chapter something reference, right?
And still not as long as the game's title.
Mm-mm.
We've also got, I love this one, Game Brush Threep Cat.
Bing! Oh, and the PFP is wonderful. Actually, Guybrush Threepwood with a PSVR2 headset on. You gotta love the Monkey Island references always.
One of my favorites of all time. Oh god. We've also got PSVR2 is the tits Gamecat.
Bing!
Does anybody actually ever say something is the tits?
Is that a British thing? I don't think people say that in the States.
Which is why I started to go there.
Yeah.
It sounds like either like a British thing or like a... It's probably a British thing.
We've got British cats in the chat. Somebody's... Miles, tell us in 7 words or less, is this a British thing? You got to give him character limits. Or he'll... That
being said, I agree. PSVR2 is the tits. We've finally, last but certainly not least, we've got Serial Killer, the Niche, and the Niche Game Cat. I love this one too.
One of those looks clearly more accurate than the other.
I saw this. There was a huge debate of whether it's pronounced niche or niche, and I think it's like the original French pronunciation is niche, which is where it originates from, I believe, but I think it's also called niche in the States. I just rotate them, and nobody ever knows. I just keep people confused.
You're such a people pleaser, AJ. Just take a stance. Take a stance. God damn.
I like them both. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like niche always sounds pretentious.
We are the knights who say niche.
All right, guys. If you change your name to GameCat, make sure you do that over on YouTube or Google, and then put hashtag GameCat in the comments of any of my videos so that I can search you out and find you and give you a shout out on next week's show. Remember, GameCat's loyal following without parole. It shows that you love us almost as much as we love you. Can never be as much as we love you. We love you just too much. That's how it is.
This is true.
We've got a couple more tips to take care of here. We've got TJ Perry in the chat with the $5 tip. Says, Brian, how much would you say this show is inspired by organizations like IGN and Kind of Funny, Pizza Bets, 20 Questions, etc.? 100%. I would be lying if I said that we're doing this that I started this for any other reason other than for my love of Podcast Beyond, Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, Ryan Clements, Andrew Goldfarb. I mean, these are the guys that I tuned in every single Tuesday for, even back in MP3 format, long before they did a video version of the podcast. Obviously, sorry, Sirens on my end. GameScoop was just kind of part of that. I visited IGN. I was at the live event Beyond 300 when they filmed their 300th episode. IGN is an integral part of my gaming history, and so is Kind of Funny and Beyond and GameScoop. So yeah, TJ, we don't try to hide it. Even at the beginning when we first started doing PSVR Gamescast Live, AJ used to fucking hate it because we would actually do.
He would say, yeah.
It's time for the Robo Report. Like we'd steal everything just to pay homage. We weren't trying to steal it. We were just paying homage to the people who inspired us. So we don't try to hide it at all. We're very, very proud to come from that era of gaming.
Yeah, I definitely learned a couple things from the Beyond days for sure. Love that show. With, like you said, Colin, Ryan, Goldfarb, and Greg, and
Who's that other guy?
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely brought when I joined. I was originally just going to do like my own just solo podcast, kind of like what I do with interactive chat now. Like that was supposed to be a thing, but the timing, like, just lined up where you had lost some co-hosts, which I think brings up our next question. And then I was like, well, let me see if he wants to work together, and it's been like that ever since. And then I brought some of the knowledge of like bringing up news and stuff that I learned from them. Like I love discussing news, the latest on gaming and stuff, and just brought that to PSVR.
I'm just copying and pasting tips over here. Don't mind me. We definitely need a producer over here, big time. We got Living Legend with the Canadian $5 tip. Says, "Sup, Gamecats? I checked the PlayStation blog and the Green Hell developer didn't mention frame rate or resolution, so I'm a bit worried, but hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, I'm worried for a lot of reasons, but so far no one has really mentioned that. Very, very few developers, few and far between, have mentioned what their frame rate or if they're using reprojection or what the resolution is. So I don't think them not mentioning it is a cause for alarm. I think the fact that they didn't send out keys ahead of time so that we could tell you is a cause for alarm. But I guess we'll find out. Even Blair Witch was I want to say, was that developed by whatever the deal was? That was a different set of people, right? Because I got the keys from Bloober Team that time. But I think it was still published by Incuvo.
Yeah.
Do I have that right? It was developed by Incuvo, but the original team was Bloober Team. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
For
Blair Witch?
Yeah. Like Blair Witch was a Bloober Team game. I don't know which one
specifically.
And then Incuvo did the VR version. I think that's how it went. I remember getting that like the night before, right? And so like, and that game was amazing. So I don't want to judge too harshly here, like whatever their marketing decisions are.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about any of that stuff so much as I am like just the version that we're getting, the quality we're getting, and it being kind of like a Quest version. That's a little concerning.
And they haven't even been super clear about that either, though. Like they've been like
upgrading it,
Yeah, so we don't exactly know what we're even getting, and we're less than 24 hours from release.
I think it'll be okay. I think you're right. Like that's the worrying part, is that there's a lot of unanswered questions. But I think from the footage we've seen, I mean, unless that's just like completely faked footage, I think we're fine.
Macho X3, the real estate procrastinating Gamecat, $2 tip with an emoji of a Shiba dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. That's a great description, Google. Thanks for the copy and paste. Works well. Thank you, Macho. J Meow with the $2 tip says, Sony probably fired whoever promoted Green Hell VR. Yeah, I don't, dude, here we are.
Somebody promoted Green Hell VR?
Well, remember last week, the Green Hell trailer went up on the PlayStation YouTube channel?
Yeah.
For like an hour, and then it came down? Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about. Jim Perona with the $5 tip says, grateful for the Without Parole team, grateful for the Gamecats, and grateful for the GAMESCAST. Thanks all, and have a great show. Thank you, JP. Much love.
Thank you, Jim. And I won't do it.
And I always eat too much and throw up. Yeah. Miles Dyer, what's up, Miles? The £5 says, it's the tit is indeed a UK saying. For example, milking these cows in across the valley while listening to GAMESCAST Live is the tits. I'm sure that's just a hypothetical. Right. All right, man. So we obviously got a great show here to present to you guys today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about with Green Hell. We got some viewer takeover questions. We got all sorts of good stuff. Remember, join our Discord. Click the link in the description below. While you're clicking links, make sure you subscribe to AJ's channel too, PSVR Underground, so you can watch and listen to all the things that he does over there. Great reason to join our Discord, though, is so you can leave viewer takeover questions like a lot of you did, and we're going to try to blast through a couple of cool viewer takeover questions. As you said, AJ, one of them actually does pertain to something we were just talking about, kind of the history of the channel. Minners71 asks, been watching this channel for a few years now and was wondering what happened to the old co-hosts that you had in the past. I seem to remember an older guy named Desra and a younger guy who had glasses and a funky haircut. I don't remember Jeremy having a funky haircut, do you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. Have you ever done a video about the channel and how it's changed? No, I haven't. Mostly because there's no time, right? It's always there's always so much to do when it comes to PSVR. Like the focus of the channel is PSVR and PSVR2. That there's never enough time or even the thought to turn the focus inward on ourselves. And so, yeah, I mean, I go back even further. A lot of people say, "Oh, what happened to Desra? What happened to Jeremy? What happened to Michelle?" Right? And the story's boring. Like, what happened to those guys? Well, life happened, right? There were no disagreements, no fights, no arguments. Everyone just said, you know, this was a really fun hobby, and we get to do it for a long time, and we're grateful for it. But like, it's time to move on. Like, I have other things in life that require my attention. Usually, new jobs and family and husbands and wives and kids. And so I promise you, I will never have those. And so I won't leave you like they did. But I go back even further, and I think about people like, you know, Brett Zawilski. I think about people like Mike Zeller. You know, people that were really there near the foundation, the start of the channel. And you know, Joby Nogueira. So like, there were so many people back in those days that were regulars, that were co-hosts, and everybody just moved on. And I feel like everything that ever happened needed to happen for us to get where we are today. And I don't think, you know, no offense to my former co-hosts or crew, but I don't think I've ever had, you know, a better set of co-hosts. I think we've got an amazing group right now. So
Oh.
yes.
Yeah, man, I'm incredibly lucky to still be here. I have no idea.
Yeah, you are.
Still here.
Yeah. Oh my God, did he freeze like that? Oh my God, is he frozen like that? Oh man. So you froze on a very, like, you were smiling and like. Oh, is he frozen again?
What is happening?
Oh no, we can hear you. We just can't see. Yeah, you're just having a little internet stuff.
You see, and then God smite thee down.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was just saying, I'm incredibly lucky to still be here and be doing this, and so lucky, and yeah, I'm very thankful to the powers that be that keep my internet on when I'm trying to do a show.
Get in my belly, Gamecat Wilkins with a $50 tip. $50 fucking dollars, dude. With just an emoji of a Shiba dog jumping in the air with fireworks around him. Thank you very, very much, dude. Very much appreciate you. I don't know. Do you think I should make a video at some point, AJ, like kind of like documenting the without parole history? Oh, are you losing again? Did we lose you again?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to make a video at some point. Now that I'm like, I've got all these memories in mind and everything, and obviously, you know, we like to honor Dave Station as well, his time here. So at some point, I think it would be really nice to be able to do a video when we have time. Obviously, not in the middle of a month like August when PSVR2 is on fire. Gang Dump. Gang Dump asks, what are the odds of a PSVR2 upgrade for Statik? It seems like an absolute no-brainer due to the DualSense controller alone. Imagine the haptics and trigger on that game. It would even be an opportunity for them to add a handful of new puzzles. How do you think Statik would work on PSVR2, AJ? Would it have to be redesigned completely because you're no longer holding the DualShock 4? Or could you think you could do it with the Sense controllers?
Yeah, I don't think it would work because... I mean, I guess technically you could do it with the Sense controllers, but I don't think it's possible because, yeah, it has to rely on the it was designed around the DualShock 4, which has light tracking, and the DualSense does not have light tracking. So I feel like it would have to be completely redesigned.
Yeah. I feel like a Statik sequel would be amazing. Something that really did take advantage of two Sense controllers, having both hands locked, maybe just in the air in their own separate boxes. Excuse me. I think it would be really, really difficult to redo that. Did he use the touchpad? He used the touchpad, right, for the DualShock 4? So there's a couple things that like don't even really work right for it. But yeah, Statik was amazing. If you still have your PSVR 1 hooked up, Statik goes on sale for $6 all the time. Probably the greatest puzzle game on PSVR 1, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Zing might be a close contender. I don't know. Bob Zarkov, the Underground Gamecat in the chat, says, put handcuffs on before playing so you can't separate your hands.
Elite Name Squad in the house.
Hell yeah.
Is on point.
Hippie Pickle with the viewer takeover question over on Discord. Remember, join our Discord. Click the link in the description below. You can get your question on the show free of charge. He says, hey guys, do you think the reason we haven't gotten VR gloves yet, VR gloves, is purely cost, or the fact that everyone has different sized hands, or both? They could make small, medium, large, X-size models, of course, but then you'd have to have a friend over and someone else in your household who has different size. That could mean you'd have to buy another pair. Of course, haptic gloves are a dream for me, but do you think we'll realistically see a commercial pair within the next 10 years?
No, and I don't think they've happened because they tried that 30 years ago with the Nintendo, and it was god awful and is still a joke to this day. I also don't think it's a practical thing. Like, I don't think it's a practical controller method. It could have some uses, but I feel like that's something that would, like a VR glove, would be more useful for like simulation technology, like simulation software, like surgery, like VR surgery practice, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, like surgery simulator stuff. But for like a mainstream fun product, nah.
I'd be curious, man. I'd be curious to know exactly how much something like that would cost, because you get to figure when you think about something like just a sense controller, right? We don't know how much these things actually cost, but we do know that it's very much similar to sense controller technology, right? So not only do you have like capacitive touch stuff happening all over the place, but you also have adaptive triggers. This means you'd have to have an adaptive trigger for 4 fingers and maybe a thumb in order to be able to like simulate reaching out and picking something up. And I just think that gets extremely cost prohibitive at a certain point. And
I think we're more likely to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, and that's just the first thing I can think of. Knowing that probably adaptive triggers take some extra programming and whatever. You have to get all these developers on board to suddenly say, oh, here's now you got to get all this stuff, programmed to work properly, so it works realistically in VR. At that point, like adaptive triggers aren't an option. They're a necessity, right, to make everything work right. I just think that VR is already very expensive. People scoffed at the $550 price tag for PSVR2. Imagine if they had scoffed because the controllers cost $500, right? And now it's $1,000 entry point.
What I do think will happen by the next, 5-10 years, is that I think we will have sensors that can actually just track your fingers and your hands completely. And I think that will be good enough. I've actually tried some really good like finger tracking, hand tracking technology before, and it is really good for immersion. If you paired that with something like a controller, it would be really, really nice. It would work awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've definitely seen, I've used the Quest hand tracking, and in the Quest hand tracking is actually surprisingly good. Like, it works surprisingly well. But as you say, you need to pair it with something like a controller, because otherwise you don't have that feel. Like, you actually lose immersion with hand tracking, because you reach out and you try to pick something up. There's nothing in your hand. It doesn't work very well. I played a VR arcade game where you're riding a roller coaster through like a dinosaur jungle or prehistoric era or something, and there's like mosquitoes and stuff, and it actually tracks your hands perfectly. There's no controllers or anything, and you have to like swat them. Like you swat at stuff and smack stuff and punch stuff, and it's actually like the feeling of it is pretty good because it is your hands. But yeah, it's like that's very obviously you're limited in what you could do. You're just riding a roller coaster and flailing your arms. You can't really go much beyond that, other than like little, at least for like fully fledged games. Yeah, agreed. Leo AI in the chat with the 20 Sekiro says it's past midnight here. No green hell. It now says 15/8. I guess you don't have a countdown on yours, Leo. I tweeted this morning when I saw the green hell page had it had a release date and a countdown. So my Green Hell VR page on the PlayStation Store here in the States is counting down. It says 15 and a half more hours to go. So it actually is telling us when it's going to be. So it's certainly not going to be a midnight release. So it's going to be tomorrow morning. So hopefully it releases,
should be tomorrow 11ish.
Yeah, usually 11 Eastern. So that would be, I don't know if things release worldwide, like everything kind of releases 11 in their own time zones, or if it's everything, or if it's going to be like, 4 p.m. In the UK kind of thing. I don't think there's really a standard, unfortunately.
I think it's different. I think it's different. Sometimes it's like, synchronous, and sometimes not.
Yeah. So few games actually release at midnight. It's surprising, because you would feel like that you'd want to do that. People stay up and go, I can't wait to play this game at midnight, and then they stay up and it's not out at midnight. It's like, well, that's disappointing.
The most common are pre-orders and Friday releases. That's when you can usually expect a night release, with very few exceptions.
Interesting. All right. That brings us into our first news story, AJ. First one being a huge benefit of the PlayStation Plus Premium subscription. What is that all about?
I think we got our very first PlayStation Plus Premium. So there's obviously this. Is it this year they deployed this, where there's the new tier system for PlayStation Premium? There's PlayStation Plus. There's PlayStation Plus regular, extra, and premium. And now in the highest tier, the premium, they do usually include some free trials. And there's a PlayStation VR2 game randomly dropped on the game trials. Yes, you can now get a free 1 hour trial for Townsmen VR.
Woohoo! 1 hour trial for your $120 yearly subscription.
For one
Wonderful.
PSVR2 game.
Do you still subscribe to Premium? You're a fan of the service?
Yeah, I actually am. I think it's really good, especially for people like me that don't play I'm certainly not buying a lot of non-VR games. So for somebody that doesn't want to invest in non-VR games, it gives me access to basically everything, to where I can just go, I don't want that FOMO effect. I want to see, keep up with the times, because it's hard balancing kind of like where games are as a whole and then where VR is. And I think it's be able to have that knowledge to contrast, where our trajectory. And yeah, so it's great for me when it comes to non-VR games, but yeah, as a VR user, I don't think there's a ton of benefit with it.
Yeah, for real. And I think that's my problem, is that when I sit down to play a flat screen game, it's probably going to be something retro. I've been playing Golden Axe Warrior for the last week. That's not a premium title. It does seem like it's good for people who aren't interested in buying, $60 game after $60 game after $60 game. And on top of that, don't mind waiting until it just kind of shows up on the service. So I think it's a good deal for a select group of people. It just isn't something I'm interested in. I actually had it for 2 years or whatever, right? Because it renewed recently. And so I still have it until October, I think. I don't remember. I can't keep up with this shit. And so, but I did finally drop it back down to just the basic essentials, which is a $60 plan, because all I need it for is multiplayer. Everything else can suck it. That said, it is really good to see that there's a 1 hour game trial for this game, because I think this is the kind of game easy to skip over. And once you play it, you're like, oh, this is actually really fun. I wonder what future levels are like. And we were reminded in the chat by APUKDCFCQRMNOP said there's also a Gorn trial.
Yeah, I did hear about this. I was actually going to look up before the show, every game that was because I was going to say maybe there's more, and I was going to look around. I saw that there was Gorn. I love this. I think that we need more game trials. I mean, imagine if you had a 1 hour game trial for like at least half, if not the entire PlayStation VR2 library. Imagine how useful PlayStation Plus Premium would be in that regard. Gives you like a 1 hour demo of every single game, and
people would never buy another game. People would just be like, I've got 90 games at my disposal. I had 90 hours of gaming here. This is going to be perfect. I don't need to buy shit.
But, you know, I mean, if they're not buying them anyway, like, I think it can only help. I think it could help, and plus, I think it could only help having them. Everybody wants more demos and trials and stuff. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's funny because I was just about to talk about VR Skater, and then I saw Chrome Colossus's comment in the chat. He said a VR Skater demo would be good. I don't think a VR Skater demo would be good. Not an hour-long trial, because your first hour with VR Skater is frustrating. And I think it's very easy to say, this is way too frustrating, I'm going to put this down. And so if your only experience with the game is frustration, and then an hour later your trial ends, you're like, I'm not going to fucking spend $35 on this thing, right? But if you spend $35 and you're like, I'm committed to this thing. I put the money in, and now I'm going to put the time in, right? And so I feel like maybe if they gave you like one little practice area where you could just kind of skate and try out some tricks, you know, and it wasn't like this limited time thing, I would be fine with that. But an hour-long time trial for VR Skater, I think, would be detrimental to that game.
I don't know, man. This
is gonna be great for the audio listeners.
We're back to the. Sorry, man. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay.
Crap, man. Well, we're back. Let me try this again. Mm-hmm. We're back to the argument of why have any demo for any game.
Yeah.
Like, I think people, if they have the option, they would rather have demos.
Oh, absolutely. Because demos is a very pro-consumer thing to do. But as you know, as many studies have pointed out, it's not. They've shown that demos can sometimes hinder the sales of games, and so it's a very pro-consumer thing to do, but at the expense of the developer and publisher. And so it's like, sure, yeah, every game should have a demo, if you know, from a consumer's point of view. But if you're a publisher or a developer who have to put the extra time and effort and money into making a demo that actually, like, you know, works as a demo, and then you're like, I'm going to put all this time, money, and effort into making something that's going to like prohibit sales. It's like you got to look at it from both perspectives, and I think some games just would benefit from demos and some just wouldn't. And I think that Townsmen is a perfect example of a game that does, right? Because I think Townsmen looks boring when you just look at gameplay. But when you get in there and you realize it's kind of a god game and you got to manipulate the world a little bit and give these different characters tasks, and you find out that it's narrative driven, it's like an hour is more than enough for you to go, I'll fucking buy this game. I want to see where this goes.
I'm just going to have to agree with you here based on my current situation.
Oh, this is the only way I'll ever win a debate, is if AJ's internet goes out.
I'll get back to you. I'll argue with you later if I disagree. But right now you win. I can't do anything about it.
Wonderful. Well, AJ, there's a big. Let's move on to the next news story before you change your mind. And that comes to us. This is barely a news story. I'm going to be honest with you guys. But Propagation Paradise Hotel, the developers over at Wanted Dev Studio, tweeted today. They said, "Hey, just want to remind everybody that Propagation Paradise Hotel is out on Steam and other various platforms, and then coming soon to PSVR2 with a little winky face." And they said, and so it's more of a reminder than anything else. This game is still on its way, and I've got to be honest with you, AJ. I needed that reminder, because when we talk about the upcoming games for PSVR2 that are coming, that are probably going to release in the Halloween spooky season, we think of things like Madison, we think of things like Numata, we think of things like Happy Funland, right? These are all games that everyone's thinking about for horror time, including Phasmophobia. I think that those are the four. I completely forgot this game was even coming. Do you think this game will be released in time for the spooky Halloween season?
I thought you were going to ask me if the game is still coming. To be honest with you, I don't know. I completely forgot about it as well. And yeah, man, it's I don't want to say I've lost interest, but I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Like I don't think I'm as interested in this with the full lineup right around the corner of some great horror games. So it would be nice just to have another horror game for October, especially because that's my favorite time of year, as is yours and a lot of ours. And the more we can have to play during that month, the better.
Yeah, I can't say I've lost interest in this. My concern, however, is that this is Saints and Sinners Light, like Lite. Yep. All the gameplay looks like Saints and Sinners. The exploration looks like Saints and Sinners. The combat looks like Saints and Sinners, except it's just a few hours long. I think I remember checking the Steam reviews, and I believe they said it's like a 4-hour game. And I think it all takes place in the hotel, which is probably accurate because of the title. And so, there was a hotel in Saints and Sinners, and that was just like one small part of the game. I'm concerned that this is just going to be, something that we've sort of already played and maybe even played a better version of. That's my bigger concern.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. Totally agree.
Well, let us know in the chat if you guys are excited for Propagation Paradise Hotel, because I am very hopeful for it, as I am with all horror games, but I'm also very much aware that most things do not deliver how we want them to, especially after seeing Cobweb. God damn it. If anybody else saw Cobweb, you can commiserate with me. Fucking miserable experience overall. Alejandro D, Cat Allergic Game Cat with a $2 tip, says 20 questions is going to last 30 minutes today.
I'm just going to not move so you never know when it's happening.
All right. Well, that's fine. And if you don't respond, I'll just keep the show rolling. I'm like, AJ has no opinions on this. We're moving on. All right, AJ, did you play Suicide Guy on PSVR 1?
Yeah, it sucked.
Whoa, hot take. Just kidding.
No.
So not a fan.
Games like this are why we get tweets like we did last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the complete problem, but definitely part of the problem, and definitely not a solution.
Oh, hey, Jordan F in the chat. Thank you. Somebody fucking out there knows what they're talking about at least. Jordan F in the chat says Propagation is going to be split up into multiple parts, so the first 4 hours is only for the first part. Who knows how many more parts that we'll get. Good. Episodic games. That's what we needed more of, AJ.
No. Not looking good.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Happy Funland just went up. Hype levels for Happy Funland are going up by the minute.
Yeah. Okay, so I gotta say, this is the reason we're bringing up Suicide Guy VR, and assuming we thought it was going to be changed to Sleeping Guy VR, or it got changed to the Guy VR at some point. I don't know, but it is listed on the PlayStation Store for PSVR 2 as Suicide Guy VR Deluxe. So maybe no name change. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens when it comes out. But I'm really, really hopeful, because this game I thought was very creative on PSVR 1. I thought it kind of presented in some new puzzles, interesting puzzles in an inventive way. And I actually really enjoyed the art style. Like, this big, overweight dude with a beer belly and everything. You look down and like pat your own belly and it goes bloop, 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 right? It's just big doofy cartoony game, but it was fun and creative. But it was just technically in a terrible place when it launched on PSVR, and it never got fixed. Frame rate wise and collision detection wise, there were just major issues. So I'm really, really, really my fingers crossed that this game gets another chance, and that he's able to get it working properly on PSVR 2, and that maybe the deluxe means it comes with some new levels as well, a little bit more content. It'd be great. Dan Kiefer says, "Why would there be a name change?" God only knows, right? I don't think Sony's out there being like, you can't have Suicide in the title. It's like, whatever, man. Like, there's the Suicide Squad exists, So I think it's the developer going through some decisions I guess he didn't fully formulate.
Yeah, I think the idea for the game and everything comes from a good place or whatnot. Despite being a touchy subject, of course, something that we are very sensitive about. But I don't think there's like, this isn't like the Patrol situation where it just kind of has like a bad taste, a bad faith kind of place. No, this is just some guy's creative vision and whatever. I have no problem with that. I had a problem with the execution and the quality of the game itself. Was just not up to my standards, which really doesn't have to be which really isn't the highest of standards, but that was unacceptable.
Yeah, I definitely give games, a lot of credit for being creative and imaginative and different. Like any game that's willing to try something a little bit different, I certainly give them a little bit more credit. But yeah, this one just had technical problems, and I was really irritated when I tried to convey these things to the developer, and he just had acted as if he had no knowledge of the problems. And he was like, when do the frame rate problems happen? And I'm like, constantly. And he's like, on what console? And I'm like, all of them. like I don't understand. It's like he's asking me to be his bug tester. I was like, that's not my job. I'm sorry. Not my job. Yeah. So that's going to be a thing, you guys. Suicide Guy is coming out in the next few months. Be excited or don't. It's really on you.
Definitely not. Pass.
Good call. That brings up our next couple tips here. We've got Living Legend with the Canadian $10 tip. Says, fall can't come soon enough. My favorite season of all. Pumpkin pie with vanilla ice cream, fall colors, Count Chocula cereal, medieval nostalgia. Yes, the PS1 game, AJ. Medieval.
I love Medieval. And Jersey Devil.
And oh Jesus! And last but not least, PSVR2 games. I was with you for a second, and then you're like, you're like, oh, Medieval was great. And Jersey Devil.
Yeah. I do like Jersey Devil.
And Bubsy 3D.
No, but I do like. I'm trying to think of these more like Halloween-y
Croc
kind of style.
Who doesn't like Croc 1 and 2?
I'm not a big fan.
Oh, I mean, they were all right. They're fine.
They're not terrible, but they're not great either.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Pumpkin pie, vanilla ice cream. I like pumpkin pie, but I love cold apple pie. Like, make a nice hot apple pie, and then you leave that shit in the fridge overnight and just eat it right out of the pan. Cold apple pie is so refreshing and delicious. I love it. It's so good. But yeah, spooky PSVR2 games, horror movies, hoodies in jean weather, just the fall in general. Everything's cool. You don't sweat all the time. Dude, fall is the best season. It
smells good outside.
It even smells good. Get in my belly, Gamecat Wilkins, with the $50 tip. Man, somebody's paying my bills today. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your generosity. You never beg for money, but inside I'm always like, I could use some.
I mean, he begs for pizza. We'll happily beg for pizza.
It's essentially the same thing. You can't, to my knowledge, no one's out there delivering pizzas for free. So you need a little of both in your life for as much pizza as possible. Gamecat Wilkins says, more pizza. Thank you very much, my friends. You guys are the fucking best. Love you. All right, man. Let's talk a little bit about Green Hell. Green Hell, obviously, the big news of the day was that the trailer came back up on the PlayStation YouTube channel. It came up on the Incubo YouTube channel. There was a PlayStation blog post about Green Hell, and all speculation and rumors in last week's temporary trailer, they were all accurate. The game's coming out in just a few hours on August 15th. How excited are you?
Well, if the game doesn't have a bunch of potential technical issues and downgraded things that we are concerned about, if those are not an issue, then I am very, very, very excited because I think it's been since 2021, since we had Song in the Smoke, that we've had a true survival adventure title. And I love this genre ever since I started playing them in VR.
Yeah, and by all accounts, this game is brutal. I think Wes has gone to bat for this, saying it's a great game, but also that it's more difficult, I believe he said, than Song in the Smoke. So, excuse me. So I'm really, really glad that I played Song in the Smoke last gen to kind of warm myself up a little bit, because I mean, look at the stuff going on here, man. Like, even in this trailer, right? There's like natives, there's spiders, there's alligators. It just seems like there's danger around every corner. Whereas, like, you know, when there was like a big mountain lion type cat, you know, to fight in Song in the Smoke, it was sort of a big event. It was sort of a big deal. Music would pick up and blah, blah, blah. This looks like there's a lot more small things to be concerned about. And so I can absolutely see, even just based on this trailer, how much more difficult it's going to be.
Yeah, I love...
Uh-oh. Yeah, he's back. All right, we can continue the show.
I love brutal survival, hardcore survival games like this for sure. It's a lot of fun. Like, I'm somebody that likes difficult games. Like, when it's, you know, when it's balanced, when it's fair, when it's done right, really high difficulty games like this are super fun and rewarding to me.
Excellent. Yeah, I will say that I'm not... I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with a lot of survival games. I've certainly played my fair share of them. I didn't stick with a lot of them, mostly because either they became too difficult or I lost interest. They weren't delivering what I needed. But this, I feel like this is gonna check a lot of boxes for me. So I guess
I think it's gonna check a lot of boxes for a lot of people that perhaps because of the more, you know, we've always been trying to champion folk for years now, and I think the general consensus is that and people are turned off a little bit by the art style from it. And I think the more realism that this has is going to benefit this. People maybe give this a little bit more of a shot, and hopefully it's got some good VRAF mechanics with it. And
this has gone from being funny to just kind of being irritating, huh?
This version we're getting is, of course, a little bit watered down from the full flat version, but it's also got some refined mechanics that feel built for the ground up for VR. And
but I don't even know about that, though. I feel like there's a lot of speculation going on about like what we're even getting. And, you know, like we know that some of, you know, there's definitely some quest gameplay involved here, meaning like some of the more VRAF elements have been included. But, you know, how many structures are we able to build? What kind of structures will we be able to build? You know, are we going to get the limitations of the quest version alongside of the, you know, the benefits of the quest version? And so, you know, and people today were even asking about multiplayer. They're like, will multiplayer be there at launch? And it's like, we don't even know what the deal is with multiplayer on, you know, just the PC VR version, right? Like, we're waiting for that. Like, this is all in the future. You know, they've announced it's going to be multiplayer and DLC, but we don't even know like if that's going to pertain to us at some point. So there's so many questions that like we really won't even be able to answer until tomorrow when we play this thing. And then even then I'm gonna have to confer with people who have played the PC version, the Quest version, and try to figure out what's in what version. It does look like from the map, it does seem like it's slightly truncated. I'm not concerned about the size of the map though, because it seems like everybody who's talked about the size of the map, you know, the Quest being smaller than the PC VR version, it's like it's easy to get lost in the PC VR version, and the fact that everything's a little bit more concentrated, a little more truncated in the Quest version, like actually doesn't sound like a bad thing. And so I'm absolutely trying to keep an open mind and hope for the best, that they delivered a great experience that we have no complaints about tomorrow.
Yeah, man, me too. I mean, at least they have the. It's not like it's starting from scratch. This is very difficult.
That's okay. We're almost done, man. We're almost done. We've only got one more news story after this, so it's going to be all right. It's all good. So before the show even started, Yee Boy, which is a great name, says, I'm hoping Green Hell is like a top 10 game contender. Are those the kind of hopes that you have for Green Hell, that it could
Yes,
really...
Brian, I agree.
Get it all out, bro, as soon as you can.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope it's great. I hope it's a great top 10 contender.
Yeah. This is the kind of game. This along with Firewall and Crossfire, Phasmophobia. These are the games I'm really hoping will make a huge difference when we do the top 25 debate again in a few months. When we say, the top 25 looks radically different than it did just back in August. So yeah, really, really have a lot of hopes for this game. Trying to keep my mind open as much as possible. Miles thinks you're just being dramatic, by the way. Super dramatic. Look at that face. Anybody from the chat want to jump in and take over for 20 questions? Because I don't know, this probably isn't going to go well.
We got this.
We got this. All right, man. It's time for our top news story of the day. Not sure, as I already discussed with Not Sure Brondo before the show began. You guys know how this works. The thumbnail, the headline. This tends to be the least interesting story of the show. So, if anybody out there was familiar with Maze Theory, if you guys know from the Doctor Who game, right? They also did, I believe, the Peaky Blinders game that hasn't made it over to PSVR. Then they had for a very long time something that was in development called Engram. And Engram was going to be a PSVR2 launch title. That was sort of like its big thing, this big claim to fame. No one knew a lot about it. Even the footage that was out there was very abstract, I guess would be the best word. And so, not that, actually, you know what, before we even get into that, I just want to make sure we have our backstory proper here. So I'm going to bring up this article here from...
Take it away, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to read it because I don't trust you.
I don't trust me either.
All right. So this is Esports Talk, which is not a website I'm familiar with, but all the information in here, I couldn't find the articles I was looking for, but this does all check out. So this is the one we decided to use. The headline says Maze Theory to launch new game Engram on PSVR 2 and Oculus Quest. There's been a surprising lack in new headsets this past few years, seeing that the VR landscape has... You know what? Fast forward. Here we go. Maze Theory announces the dual launch plan of Engram. Enter Maze Theory, developers behind Doctor Who Edge of Time and its flat screen follow-up, The Edge of Reality. They've also been hard at work on a new game called Peaky Blinders: The King's Ransom, but while they've been working on this, they've also been working on a title they teased at the beginning of their company's formation. The game is called The Vanishing Act, but has since been renamed Engram. This narrative game has players traveling into the minds of others to relive their memories, and since it's being worked on, they've mentioned that it's going to launch with the PSVR 2 as well. Originally, they were going to launch it earlier, according to an interview with VR-centric website VR Focus. However, they mentioned that the game would have had too many control options, that they used the current state of PlayStation's headset with the Move controllers, blah, 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 whatever. And then they start talking about what this means for the potential PSVR 2 launch window. Like when is it coming out? Nobody knows. Q1 2023, guys. Just Brian from the past letting you know. And so that's what Engram is. No one knew a lot about it. Again, touted as a PSVR 2 launch title. It was supposed to be kind of a big deal, and then right up until launch, everybody still had Engram listed on their confirmed list of PSVR 2 launch titles because Maze Theory had never told anybody, hey, this isn't going to be there. Now here we are, 5-6 months after launch, and everyone's like, where's Engram? Everyone meaning me. And that's why I emailed them. And I said, hey guys, what's up with Engram? And they said, and I actually got a decent response from them over at Maze Theory. And this is the quote that I got. It said, at the moment, the project is in a holding pattern, but this is in the works, which is likely part of the same franchise. And it's called The Infinite Inside, which I'm sure you already knew because you saw the title of this video. And I want to ask you, AJ, if you're still with us, If this to
Right.
you looks like a PSVR2 game, I'm going to put this full screen.
Oh, let me see. Where can I see this?
I sent you a link.
Oh, okay, in the email.
Yeah. Yep. So you can see, as you can see, the trailer starts off, and there's somebody's living room. It's obviously using augmented reality, and there's some kind of Jenga-like structure in the middle of their living room, and they're walking around it. Again, very much showing that it's an AR game. It all looks very cool. Panel opens up, and then they walk inside of it. Right? Almost feels like what's the Shadow game on PSVR1 that we got? I'm talking about that.
Oh God, that terrible Shadow game with
Patrick Stewart. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was okay.
It was terrible. Who thinks that making shadow puppets is a good sellable game that people want to pay money for? Bullshit.
Well, so anyway,
where's the video, Brian? Where's the video? Oh,
hold on a second.
The only thing this links me to is a article from 2 years ago. This is why I was trying to get together with you before the show. Anyways,
here we go. Hold on a second, AJ.
Okay.
Here you go.
I got that. Okay, thank you.
Yes, let me Google that for you.
Let me see if this.
In the meanwhile, while you're watching that trailer, we got Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat in the chat with the $5 tip. Says, "What's up, cats? Sorry I'm late, but I was binge playing Red Matter 2 today and just beat it. Loved it. Ready for Green Hell now."
Congrats, man.
Hell yeah. I really hope they bring us Red Matter 1 remastered on PSVR 2, because man, I would love to play Red Matter 1 again with that level of detail. It's great.
Okay, this looks cool, but this looks impossible to be on PSVR 2, at least in color and full mixed reality.
Well, and so that's kind of my question. So when when they said, hey, this game is in the same franchise, in Engram is sort of in a holding pattern right now, I said, well, that's great. And he said, do you want to cover the Infinite Inside? And I said, well, it doesn't seem like it's for VR. It seems like it's mixed reality or AR. And I was like, so we only cover PSVR and PSVR 2 over here. And he said, oh, it's for mixed reality and VR, and that includes PlayStation VR. And so I'm wondering if they'll just remove certain elements, if some of it will just be simulated, or exactly how they're going to do it. But I don't know. I'm curious what people in the chat think of this.
I don't know. The pass-through looks really good, but the pass-through does not look good enough to make like mixed reality games with.
Right.
And it's also black and white. It's lower resolution. Like, yeah, I don't unless they made it, unless they just really use the pass-through mode. But yeah, we haven't seen. I mean, you'd have.
This is a good time to bring up Field of Magic. Here, the Roar Thunder Game Cats are loose. Australian $2 tips that says just use AI to fill in AJ's blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do that.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, you would think in theory that PSVR 2 could do this, but when you look at what we have, I don't know.
Well, so you got to wonder here, right? Like, so this is, I'm sure for headsets with better mixed reality, for better pass through, that this is a viable option to be like, oh, this is your living room, ha 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 ha, look at this, and this is something that just like kind of came out of the ground in the middle of your living room, great. But unless your living room actually plays a part in the game itself, then who the fuck cares? Like, just give me this living room in VR. Right? Just be like, just give me this living room. It's like, oh, it looks like I'm in a very photorealistic living room, and this thing just came out of Sirens on my end, just came out of my carpet. And so you've got to really wonder how much of this of the the real world actually plays a part at all in this game, because once you step through that gate they just showed, where you like enter the game world, is that the last time you see your living room? And I have a feeling that it might be. I have a feeling that's just like, that's kind of a gimmick to get you into it. Really strange, though. Really strange that this is what we're seeing from a game that was in development for so long. This looks very much like a puzzle game. Fine, and a little kind of maybe a basic puzzle game. We have no idea because they didn't really reveal very much in this short limited trailer. But what happened to Engram? That's the bigger question. Like, will we ever see Engram?
I'm going to have to kind of say that this is probably never getting released. I'm taking that stance. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be proven wrong.
You think this game or Engram?
Yeah. Probably either one. I don't think either one is releasing for PSVR 2.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I call it a gut feeling.
Okay. I mean, they've got a pretty good history so far. You know, they've put out multiple VR games over the last few years. But I mean, yeah, I'll take your gut feeling. I'll even put a pizza bet on your gut feeling. So anyway, definitely curious what people think about this, and if anyone even cares about the Infinite Inside, and you know, if anybody else out there even cares what happened to Engram, because you know, they gave us so little to even get excited about to begin with. You've got to wonder just how far it made it in development. We never saw that much footage. So that's it, man. That's all I got about this.
That's all I got to say about that.
and as expected, the least interesting story we had today.
Yeah.
All right, man. It is time to test your internet and do a little PSVR 20
my
questions.
Chances here.
I didn't like your chances before the internet problems.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, man. Well, what
did I choose last time?
What did you choose last time?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who can keep up?
Oh, you can, apparently.
I can't keep up. No.
Oh, yes, you can.
All right, you guys. Everybody help AJ out because he's definitely going to need it. I'm going to put 6 minutes up on the clock, and you guys and you, AJ, have 20 yes or no questions to figure out what PSVR game I'm thinking of. Are you ready?
Hey, by the way, if anybody in the chat guesses this, then we win automatically.
Even if you don't say what they said?
Yep. If somebody in the chat guesses it, then they win.
These are interesting new rules that you've implemented without my consent.
Well, I'm making an executive decision here.
On your mark.
All right.
Get Des. Go.
Is it on PSVR 2?
Yes.
Is it only on PSVR 2?
Yes. Meaning it's not on PSVR 1.
Right. Is it a puzzle game?
Yeah, puzzle elements.
Have we talked about it today?
I don't believe it's been brought up on today's show, no.
Let's see here. Is it the only game in its series?
Ooh, good question. No.
Is it a sequel?
No. I might have to double check that.
Interesting. So it's not really a sequel, but it's not the only game. Ooh. Well, we did talk about another Fisherman's Tale. Is it an escape room game?
No.
Okay.
I checked. I checked it. I don't believe it's the first game in the series. But there are multiple games in the series.
Is it a shooter?
No.
He said it's kind of a puzzle game, so it's not shooting.
Well, a puzzle.
So it can't be Switchback. Lots of. You said puzzle elements.
Mm-hmm. There's puzzle elements in Switchback.
Yeah, I guess so. But you said it's not a shooter.
It's not a shooter.
Okay. What up, Wes? Is it anime?
Is it anime?
Is it anime?
No. What is Tornado taking down my window? What is happening right now? What are you doing over there?
Are there retro elements to this game?
No. There may be, but if I say yes, it's going to throw you off the scent because I can't even think of them. That's 10, by the way.
No.
Tornado, get in here.
Let's see. Scott says, is it either a niche game or a niche game? Is it... How many questions do I have?
You're halfway there. Whoa.
Okay. Come on, guys. I
haven't been keeping an eye on the chat. I have no idea if anybody's even said
okay. Is there a flat screen version of this series?
Of the series, yeah.
Is this... Is my internet on?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. Is this a simulator type game?
Simulator, like
building a city simulator type game?
No.
Okay. God damn it! Was it on?
Sorry, say it again. Can you hear me? Say again.
For the third time, was it on the top 25?
No, not our top 25.
Not our top 25. What are we on?
That's 13. So you got 6 and a guess.
Oh. How much time do I have?
Don't worry about the time.
Okay. I don't even know when I was off, when it was on, and when it was off. Is this? You said there's puzzle elements in it. Is it? There's a flat screen version of the series. Is it a first party game?
No.
Is it a game about fireworks?
It is not Fantavision. No, that's 15.
We're on the right track.
Are you though? I'm glad you think so. That's the important part. Just hope I still have a cat. That window was rattling big time. I think she might have thrown the screen out and jumped.
Is it based on a popular IP?
No.
Okay, I think I'm back.
You got 3 questions and a guess.
Okay. Do I hate this game?
You hate a lot of things, so I'm going to go yeah.
Okay. Was this Upload VR's Game of the Year?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Oh, no. Virtual Strangers, my homie Wes with the assist. Is this game, Brian? What the bat?
Indeed it is, AJ. $24.99 from Tri-Band Productions. Came out February 22nd, 2023, alongside the launch of the PSVR2 itself. What the bat, indeed. And I also want to say, I saw an upload tweet that got retweeted today by a certain developer of What was the robot game we were just talking about last week? The Border Patrol or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Robot
Border Bots.
Right. It was a tweet of Upload saying, "This is our most anticipated VR game," and I was like, "Well, you're 0 for 2. You're 0 for 2, Upload."
Oh,
Right. I was like, if that doesn't tell you what kind of games that Upload cares about, right? If that they do not care about AAA games, they do not care about big games in VR. They care about What the Bat, and they care about Border Patrol. Yep. That's it, man. What the bat? What the bat? We should probably get going before we lose the internet again. Right. Oh, look, it looks like he's about to say something. Look, doesn't it? It totally looks like
too late for that. Too late for that, Brian.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. I guarantee this will be super fun as an audio podcast. So let me know how this works out for you guys over there. But thank you everybody for hanging out. Thanks to all the people who support this channel in all sorts of different ways. J-Meow, Rod Pop, all the mods, Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, everyone who supports us financially over here by being a member over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, everyone who tips in the chat, everyone who shoots the shit with us, keeps us entertained while we try to keep you entertained, and of course everybody who sits back, watches the show, doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. If you're not frozen, AJ, can we cue the cat?
Cue the cat, Brian, for the best cue the cat ever, because I want to say see you guys on Wednesday to Virtual Strangers. Thank you so much, Wes, for the virtual assist, my friend. Danishing Axes, Eternal Sneeze, Gabriel Double Full of Life.
Oh, man, that one hurt.
Bob Sarkoff, the Underground, Gamecat, says Nightcats, Magnum Gaming, good stream. Mark Smith, Nice West, Scott Jesco, PSVR Gamecat for Life, says he's about to cue the motherfucking cat because he wants to say bye to you, Scott Jesco, and Melkaya, the Soul Reaving Gamecat. See a cat's awesome Soul Reave stream? Yes. Ian Mars says AJ is Zoolander face. A guy son fist bump to you. I'm going to keep pushing through this thing, man, like there's no tomorrow. I don't care how many times it cuts out. Goody, damn it, Goody, later, man. Silver Nexus, my dude, good to see you. Super Galaxy Godstar, later, homie. Shapeshifter, the Amorphous Gamecat, love you, man. Shades of Grey Matter, love all you guys.
You still got many more seconds to go, AJ. I was checking on Tornado.
Blue Jew, the Underground Gamecat Elite Name Squad in the house.
I feel like I should
Hear
take
the roar,
yeah.
Thunder Gamecats are loose.
This is why I don't take over every time he cuts out, because he's just going to come back louder than before. Yeah.
Johnny Ripe off the Stray Cat. We've always lived in the castle, Mary Cat. Oh, amazing. Was that the greatest cue the cat ever?
Amazing. I did check on Tornado, by the way. She is fine. My screen, however, has seen better days. My window screen. I think she doesn't like it. AJ.
Right.
I'm sure that you get insane comments on your channel as well, and I feel like we need a place to vent about the insanity that sometimes that happens in our communities. And I realized today that I would love nothing more than to do like a monthly show or something where I don't know, you and I or whoever we get on the show and just show people the crap that we have to deal with. Because I have seen the most ridiculous,
like taking out the garbage or something.
Yeah, the most ridiculous comments lately. I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's a full moon, right? I have no idea what's going on out there. But there's like some insanity brewing, and like people, like somebody didn't understand the top 25 list. AJ, they're like didn't understand what we were doing in the top 25 list, and I had a full-blown conversation with them explaining that these are the top 25 PSVR2 games. These are the best games. And they're like, well, you should rename it. Like, I mean, like full-blown conversation. Somebody honestly did not understand the top 25 video. I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, I get some weird comments as well. One was like, he was like, you learned how to say Zenith right, and then you went back to saying it wrong or something.
Great. Yep. Yep. We need to start compiling these things every single time we see a stupid comment or a silly comment. We just need to throw it into a Slack document or something, and then at the end of the month we can vent our frustrations for like the Patreon supporters or something. I think I might have lost him again.
I thought I was gone for good that time.
But Bob Zarkov, the Underground Gamecat, says, so the top 25 is just 46 random games? That's exactly it. All right, dude, let's get out of here before we lose you again. Everyone, thank you so much. We love you. Happy Monday and happy Green Hell Eve.
Yes. Green Hell!